Most people get a sinus infection, they get antibiotics to help kill the bacteria, the swelling goes down because the virus that usually started the sinus infection is gone, and the sinus restores itself to normal. But the people that we see have narrowing of that opening, or sometimes because of the inflammation, polyps, which are an overgrowth of the natural mucous membrane, have grown into that spot and have plugged it so that they just don't have oxygen within the sinus because it's all been used up by the mucous membrane, and so we get a decrease in oxygen, decrease in the sweeping motion of those cells. The petri dish that I just talked about, they get antibiotics, they get a little better, they get worse after antibiotics are discontinued. Nasal steroids try to open that opening, but sometimes are not successful. So the old types of surgery were how to remove the bone to restore that opening. But we have to remember that the bone is covered by mucous membrane, and when you study that mucous membrane, it actually has sweeper cells too that are helping. So the traditional sinus surgery, which is still necessary in certain cases, would remove the bone and the mucous membrane covering that were helping to restore that. So the idea behind the balloon is very much like an angioplasty for a coronary artery. We've got a narrowed coronary artery, we want to make it bigger so it has better flow. Well, we can adapt that type of technology for the sinus too. So we've developed a procedure that is done in the office that's quite effective for doing that. Also avoids the need for general anesthetic and for prolonged recuperation when the bone is removed and has to heal. And that's called a balloon sinuplasty. So the idea behind that is to identify that opening with a very delicate wire that's got a light on the end of it. So let's say my left sinus was involved. I would numb up the inside of my nose with a device that has a perfect curvature on it. I would introduce the little wire into that sinus opening, and my cheek would glow like a pumpkin. That's called transillumination. So you get this orange glow, and then you can spin the little light around, and it has a little disco light in there that shows you that you're in the right place. And then over that, you can slide the balloon, expand the balloon to restore the opening without taking away the bone and the sweeper cells. And it's just like a little eggshell that is still there, but it's cracked open. And then you can remove the whole apparatus after irrigating the sinus. So washing it out helps too. So once you've washed the sinus and you've created this new opening, now oxygen can get in, and 90 to 95% of times, if the mucous membrane has not had permanent damage, can restore that ciliary function where the sweeper cells are sweeping out the bad stuff and maintaining the sinus health. And so you can expect a significant reduction in the frequency and severity of sinus infections, significant reduction in midfacial pain and pressure, sinus headaches, need for antibiotics, need for other medications. And we do have long-term studies that show that this stays open very nicely.